Cornwall, a place of beauty and one of the most picturesque places in Europe. With over 400 miles of coastline, it is a haven for marine life and a spearfisherman's dream. With an abundance of species to hunt, as well as crystal clear waters, Cornwall is a place spearos travel hundreds of miles to hunt and enjoy the bounty the ocean has to give. With the ever-changing tides and weather in Cornwall, spearfishing can become a challenge when picking the best spot that will produce fish and keep the diver safe. With all this said, the sport of fishing is normally the gateway into becoming a spearo, and through the sport, much can be learnt about the ocean itself. This story begins with an individual who wants to take the art of fishing further and enter the realm under the waves and become a hunter.
Hello, my name's James and I'm a spearfisherman. What got me into spearfishing was, as with a lot of things that I've learnt to do around the sea, I just sort of came across it on the internet and I thought I should get involved. And I've fallen in love with it. Spearfishing offers a freedom that you don't really get when you're scuba diving. When you spearfish, it's all on a single breath. You just go down and it's really just a lot of training yourself. Things like holding your breath, seeing in poor light, seeing poor visibility, knowing how to handle different species of fish, and it's just sort of a lot of fun to teach yourself and train yourself, and it's so gratifying to be able to actually get the shot on the fish that you'd like.
As always with freediving, actually getting into my wetsuit is a challenge in and of itself, but once it's on, the water awaits me. Before I dive, I always check my equipment. I'll make sure, for example, that the rubber bands on the gun are not torn or broken, as it's highly important that they're in perfect condition before use. Once ready, I take a moment to look at my surroundings and relax myself and plan my dive. Getting into the cold water is always the bit I dread, but once you're in and you start moving, the coldness is the last thing on my mind. Before spearfishing, I've always been a forage diver, so those instincts are still strong even when I am spearfishing. The first dive under the waves is always the most nerve-wracking, as you never really know what to expect once you're down there. Luckily on this dive, a sandy bottom and an abundance of spiny spider crabs is what greeted me when I began the hunt. On this first dive, no fish was seen at all because of the terrible viz, but bringing a bag of scallops and a crab home was enough for me that day. On the next dive, I chose to go off of Castle Beach as I've heard good things from other spearos, especially sightings of sea bass, a prized species to hunt for a spearfisherman. With the weather against me again and the visibility in algal blooms only amounting to the viz being about 2 to 4 metres, it was going to be a challenge. The first dive was on a sandy patch, away from the reef, as I was in search of flatfish such as plaice or brill or flounder that lay in wait in the sand for prey. But there was nothing there. And with the only life being more spider crabs and an abundance of lesser sand eel, I decided to head to an area of kelp where some predatory fish would be laying in wait for their prey. On the way to the kelp reef, I had to watch out for blue-fire jellyfish in the water column, as they can give you a very, very nasty sting. As beautiful and tranquil as the jellyfish may seem, they are to be observed at a distance due to their long stinging tentacles, some of which are hard to see in the water. Overall, this dive ended in just another blank. It wasn't my day. Having found nothing over the sand flats and missing a couple of fish on the reef beds, including what I expected to be a double-figure pollock, I soon gave up, as the stress of the constant diving started to tire me out, as well as having a long swim back to the shore. For me, spearfishing is always a learning curve, and with each dive I learn something new each time. When spearfishing, it's not always about the hunt for me and actually shooting the fish. I really just enjoy being in the water and observing the life around me. Especially as a specialist in carcinology, I do also just love seeing the invertebrates, especially the spider crabs that always make me laugh. It makes it worthwhile, especially when the hunting aspect does prove difficult. I just hope the coming summer will bring more fish and cleaner, warmer waters, and I'll be able to finally come home from dives with a fish for dinner.
With this story at an end, and our hunter coming home with nothing to show, it tells all those who hunt in the ocean that Mother Nature will create the biggest challenges to those who delve into her realm. Although, with practice and learning the art of hunting, venturing below the waves can truly help one become a hunter and reap the rewards of the oceans.